Welcome to week 2 of our CIS 101 class. Let me give you a quick overview. Our theme this week has to do with email and passwords. And email is something you've all already used because you've all emailed me. But I'm going to guess that some of you don't use it very efficiently. And there's lots of tips and tricks for how to get the most out of email. It used to be back in the olden days that you get all excited, you get this little notification, you have new mail. If you know what that's from, then you're probably as old as I am. And so you get all excited because you'd have an email, and you'd get like tons of regular mail, and that wasn't very interesting because it was usually bills and different things. And now today you get tons and tons of email, but it's kind of exciting to get a regular snail mail message. At least one that's actually written out by somebody. So that's kind of fun. So we really have come to rely on email as a primary source of communication with people. And there's ways to do it efficiently. There's ways to do it professionally. There's ways to do it when you're interacting with classmates or teachers or employers versus interacting with your friends. You would definitely be much less formal if you were interacting with your professor or with your friends or your family than you would be if you were interacting with professors, for example. So always make sure to check spelling. Anyhow, I'm not going to give you a lot of details because the readings this month will go in, or this week will go into all kinds of information. So let's take a look at what's there. So week 2, June 29th, can you believe it? We're halfway through summer. That's crazy. Well, it feels like halfway through summer. And so in this week, your checklist will have the outline of everything you need to do. The things I want you to think about this week are what would happen if somebody hacked into your email? Now think about that for a minute. I know on my Gmail account, every account that I sign up for on the internet, what does it do? You have to put in your email address, right, to create the account. And then what happens? It sends you an authentication message almost always. And what happens if you lose your password? What do they do? You put in your email address, they send you an email, you click a link, and you change your password. Easy, right? What happens if somebody gets into your email? Because you probably have all those messages there, so they could get into your accounts. That wouldn't be any fun, because if they got into your email and they went to, let's say Verizon or a store credit card or some other account you have online, your Amazon account, and they reset your password, the email would go to the email account they're hacked into, and so they could change your password. So it's really super important. Our 2 topics this week are email and password security because it's critical. I think if somebody hacked into my Gmail account, that would not be a good thing. So the videos this week are going to talk about how hackers crack your password. This one's really interesting. The cybersecurity expert answers hacking questions that people have. It's a little bit longer, but she covers all kinds of interesting topics. So in the Learn section, we've got 3 main GCF Learn. I know it looks like a lot, but 2 of them are just one page, one thing. But we're going to go over email basics. Email and beyond actually is going to cover lots of other ways to communicate, things like messaging and blogging, and there's just several different interesting ways to communicate on the internet. And then specifically one about Gmail, because your college email happens to be a Gmail account. And so you can learn all the ins and outs and how to create folders and filters and all sorts of good things with that tutorial. This next one is 2-factor authentication, and that's sort of a tech bonus this week because you might already have this set up. So for example, let's say somebody does try to hack into my Gmail. If it recognizes that somebody's trying to log in from a device that it doesn't normally log into from, like my laptop or my phone, it will require a 2-factor authentication. I have that set up. And so what it does is it sends a text message to my phone and it says, is this really you? And I have to push the button and then it lets it in. Let's say I'm logging in from a college computer or a library computer or something like that. So 2-factor authentication is a pretty good protection. Most people have a cell phone, and most people have a cell phone with them all the time. And so that's a good device or a good authentication factor to have. This other one is just another one-page creating strong passwords tips from GCF Learn. And then I've put together a 2-page document for how to create strong passwords. One page has all of the most commonly used, basically bad passwords for the last several years. People do things like ABC123. It's just all kinds of dumb stuff. And then the other page has some more tips for creating strong passwords. This tech tip is for taking screenshots. So if you don't know how to do a screenshot on your computer, that'll be useful because there's something you have to turn in, and we'll get to that shortly. Under the Do section, there's a couple of interesting sites. Let me open up this How Secure is Your Password? So both the sites I have are pretty well respected and verified. They're not like harvesting your passwords to hack them. So I'm going to type in that ABC123 password. Well, that wouldn't go very far, now would it? So this is how long it would take a computer to crack your password. Let me add a few symbols. I'm just making stuff up. All right, so I added some more stuff to that password. It's pretty secure at this point. So that's one of the things you're gonna do is you're just gonna play around with that. Try your actual passwords, try making up some passwords, see what you can do. So this one is an interesting one because this one, well, it has a password thing. So one of the things, let's see up here, is to check your password. But let's say I'm going to use, this is my student test account for Moodle. I actually haven't tested this on here before. So you type in your email account, you click the button, one breach on one site. And so when you scroll down, oh, Canva, that's something we used for that. So what you want to do, it'll give you some information. And this is actually a tech security guy that has done this. I probably need to go in and change my password and maybe even delete that account because I'm not even using it anymore. And so down below, it's showing the largest breaches. You hear about this all the time, the email password breaches and all sorts of different things. So he's constantly adding these to his database. And then when you put in your email address, he runs it against the database to see if it's in there. So definitely check that out. There's a couple of quizzes at GCF Learn. And then also the week 2 insights. Most of you did pretty well on that in week 1. I'll be getting those grades put in. But let me just point out that to get full credit, to get the whole 20 points, you have to respond to all of this, okay? So come up with your one big takeaway for the week, why you selected it, how it relates to the class content, and one additional resource that can share, that you can share that has more information or that is useful, is related somehow, that you can share with the rest of the class. Now, I will let you know that you won't see the week 2 Insight Discord channel until Thursday morning. So you can't just jump on it Monday night at midnight or something and do it. I want you to actually go through everything, think through stuff, and definitely put a little effort into that if you want full credit. So let's go down to the last thing here. Submit a GCF Learn transcript screenshot. And so we talked about that a little bit last week. And if you've gone through a bunch of stuff and you've been logged in, you have to be logged in before you start reading through the tutorials and taking the quizzes. Then what will happen is it will keep a learning history for you. Now, there used to be a way to actually export this, but that doesn't seem to be available anymore. So just take a screenshot. Follow the tech tip, taking a screenshot. If you need to, use your phone and just take a picture of the screen. I'm okay with that also. See if you can upload it in a JPEG, a PNG, or a PDF file format. Don't give me something weird like WordPerfect. I actually don't even have Microsoft Word on my computer. So give it to me in a PDF or a picture format. If you need to learn how to upload a file to Moodle, there's a video that I made, so I'm not going to show you how to do it here, but you can just click this video. Whoops. You can just click this video and it will show you how to actually upload a file to a Moodle assignment, which is really useful because we'll do that a lot for different things. I think I'll show you one or two more things. Under the help desk, I've done a little reorganizing because there was getting to be a lot of stuff there. And so now I've got things organized under categories, using Moodle, GCF Learn tips, general tech tips. You might want to look at the customizing the dashboard video. You'll find that very useful. And in important documents, I did the same thing. I organized it just a little bit, just to make things a little bit easier to find. Let me go to the dashboard and show you why you might want to customize it. Because not only does it have a link to your class, but if I've put in a deadline, and I would customize this to move it to the top, it has the upcoming events when things are due. So it's a nice little reminder. But if you hit customize this page, you can drag it up to the top, and that's a little bit easier to use. The only other thing I want to remind you of is last week at the very end, almost the very end, Zoom discussion week 2 sign up. And so if you haven't signed up here already, and there's a couple of you that haven't, please make sure to go back to that link, put your time down, pick your time. What I did is I made a list of everybody up here, and I'll do that from now on. When you move your name down here to one of the items on the list or one of the time slots, just delete it up here. That helps me actually at a glance see who I still need to poke to get into a Zoom time for this week. So I'm very excited. This is an interesting week. Learning how to manage email will save you tons and tons of time. If you have any questions, make sure you post them to the help desk in Discord. That's a great place to ask a question. I will tell you, I get tons of email, like tons of email every single day. And if I didn't have Gmail filters set up and folders set up, it would just drive me crazy. Well, filters and labels, they call them labels. And so as it is, the reason that your emails go into a label just for this class is because you put CIS136 in the subject line. And so that filters it all to one place. Super useful. Anyhow, I'm looking forward to our Zoom topics this week. Remember to review the think questions from last week, and that's what we're going to talk about. So have a great week, and I'm looking forward to seeing you online.